Pizza
and Co.
Funny yet kind of like awkward fact, and I don't know why this is the case, but do you know, have you seen those little loading spinners?
Yeah. Please, do I want to know what they're called?
The technical term is actually a throbber.
Oh, a throbber.
Yeah, a throbber. Why?
That's somehow better and worse than I was expecting. I don't know how you've managed that. The IT industry deviants the lot of them.
Invented by David Throbber in 1996.
But everyone that I've ever worked with has refused to call it that, which I don't either. Like,
I'm going to start calling it that. I make my next work meeting extremely comfortable.
No idea who came up with such an awkward term for a loading spinner.
Don't you? Don't you? Didn't you just go on holiday to the place where they would have named it that?
That's true.
Yeah.
Throbber.
You weren't sure, were you? You're like, surely that's not the case.
And now your Google results are fucked. I assume you're looking up throbbers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Someone was to put like incognito on just to do like design work.
Secret throbber is worse.
There's no information about why it's called that.
I thought it would be funny if there was. I'm sure I looked into it. Like, often when I like see something like that, I do try and figure out like why. And I think I came up with nothing. Although I haven't asked ChatGPT. So
Put that away. No. It's time to start an episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to Second-Hand Haunting, where we read ghost stories out of a second-hand book I got out of a second-hand shop and try and make sense of them.
Fun of them.
Sense of them?
Fun of them.
Sense of them?
Fun of them! Hey, Amber.
Hi, Callum.
That surprised the heck out of me. What are you doing here?
I live here.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Ollie.
Hey, Amber.
Ah!
I feel like it must have been a short commute.
Shorter than your recent commute. What was that, 14, 15 hours?
Yeah, but you got to go to an airport that you can then take the flight from.
Yeah.
But fun fact, so 14-hour flight over to San Francisco, very far away from Australia. And one of the things that is really interesting is that I have somehow, through no effort on my part, conquered my fear of flying.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks.
I didn't know you had one.
Well, I mean, it's more like I was an anxious flyer. So I used to be on the flight and I'd be like hearing all the noises and thinking about them. And then there's the turbulence and I'd be thinking about it. And recently I've been flying just seamlessly and I've been starting to open myself up to like more alternatives. So, not alternatives, sorry, more opportunities. So
okay, to flying?
Yeah.
Or flying didn't kill me. Let me try
Ballooning.
heroin.
Wow, we went from different places there, didn't we?
Well, I was going to say flying more. Like, because I used to get anxious, like, getting on planes. I didn't even want to do anything once I had the flight. So, like, the idea of flying to another city just for, like, a day trip, was just so far beyond my comprehension.
Well, while you were over in San Fran, did you see anything that did scare you? Anything spooky?
I'll
take that as a no.
Bigfoot? No.
What?
You know, in Yosemite, there was like Bigfoot roaming around the hills.
Is that where Bigfoot's meant to be?
Well, he was there.
He was. Okay,
He was,
all right,
definitely.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Definitely not a bear.
Definitely not a guy in a suit.
Well, there's two more questions. Did you see any bears?
No, I didn't see any bears, only Bigfoot.
And did you see any guys? And did you see any guys in suits?
I don't think so.
No?
No tailored suits out in Yosemite. Oh, I mean, I did on the trip, though, obviously. Yeah. It was the people in suits. I did go in a driverless car. I had a couple of trips in a driverless car.
That spooked Callum real good.
Yeah. No.
Don't like that?
No.
I mean, it wouldn't have, like, you'd only go up to, like, 60 kilometers, so I don't think it was very fast.
If it's going, that's too much.
I was in a Tesla. Someone gave me a lift in a Tesla and did the self-driving thing, and they were going down the highway at like 80 kilometers an hour, and then just like turned on the self-driving and like hung back and let the car drive us around for a little bit. So that was.
You telling me you don't yearn for the day where your car drives you to work, and then while you go to work, it also leaves and goes to work, driving other people around for you? So your car's hustling for you?
God, that does sound like fun. I literally never thought of that before.
Yeah,
and it's just
it
such
drops
a
you
great
off
idea.
at work, and then it heads off to do its job of Ubering people for the day, and you've got a 3-income family.
Beautiful.
And then we can increase prices even more. Yeah, I can't wait for the first haunted highway story about someone seeing a ghost car that gets debunked as just a Tesla.
Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah.
No. The AI taking over the car.
Wasn't that?
But that's just the normal thing you've described, though.
Well, like, you know,
And yes, to be fair, scary.
with more of a personality. Yeah, one of the things I did
You're thinking Christine.
One of the things I did find quite funny about how the car advertised itself to you once you're in the car.
No!
Because, like, one of the things popped up and said, hey, if you feel like singing, just sing as loud as you want, you know, because we don't...
We're not training AI on your singing
Yeah,
voice.
because we're not recording you or anything like that. So you can sing and do whatever you want, and it makes no difference to us. I think I did, actually. I think, like, on one of the trips, I just, like, started singing along to the song. I want to have the full experience.
You know, I have never been in a car and thought, well, I'm not going to not sing. Wait, not...
Not gonna not.
I'm not sure how many negatives need to be in that sentence, but as soon as the car tells me it's okay to sing, no, I'm not singing. I tell car what to do, not car tell me what to do.
Honestly, this might sound bad on my part. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Loved the fact that I didn't have an actual Uber driver. Like, I loved it. Like,
Yep, let's put more immigrants out of work. Good call.
Didn't have any like awkward silences or feeling like I had to talk to the driver. You know, it was great.
I got into an Uber once, and I got in, and this guy had in the back seat next to me like a mini fridge with drinks, and then he had like a little container that was full of mints and chocolate bars, and he was just selling all kinds of things out the back of that car for his drivers to have. His
Selling?
passengers.
Like selling? No, like,
Yeah.
not just like giving it away.
No, it was a menu, like on the back seat. It told you the price of all the stuff that he was selling out the back of his car.
Oh, Jesus. Like,
So it's like, do you need breath mints? There they are. You can buy them.
Hang on, how many total people were in the car? You, the passenger, the driver,
And that was it.
And okay, so there wasn't like a separate valet who's
No,
like,
no.
would you care for some mints, madame?
did it have like a card? Like, could you tap?
He had a square reader.
Of course he did.
Can your AI car do this?
He also had little deodorants and stuff in there.
Do you know what? That's was a
Entrepreneurship.
yeah, entrepreneurial spirit. I love that. Yeah.
American as fuck. All right.
What story do you have for us today?
Well, I've got a big scatter shot of stories from all over the world today. Mm-hmm. Specifically, the book I have today is a big, heavy one that I've had sitting on my shelf, and I just can't be bothered putting in my backpack to take to Ollie's. So today is a wonderful opportunity to read the Reader's Digest Almanac of the Uncanny. Stories of the supernatural through the centuries.
I like the title Almanac, but probably just because it reminds me of Back to the Future.
Sure.
I'm guessing this is kind of similar to that one that I read, in that it's going to be collections from other works.
You would be, yeah, more or less correct. I don't know if it's... I mean, look, it's Reader's Digest. They collate stuff.
Yeah.
It's their whole thing. I don't know if these are excerpts from other books directly, so much as it is like little, just one-page stories of stuff.
Yep.
Because I think the other one was, Mysteries of the Unexplained,
Yeah.
so it was a bigger kind of remit, whereas this is... Like, as you go from the start of the book to the back of the book, it's through time, all sorts of weird stuff.
The word almanac to describe it is weird to me, because isn't an almanac like a yearly, like it's a calendar, it's a way to tell time throughout the year? No? Am I wrong?
makes
here?
sense.
That is correct. That's what an almanac normally is, and I think they've just kind of co-opted that because they have organised it approximately chronologically.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then.
Very
Yep.
approximately.
Very approximately,
Because when you're talking about ghosts, what do you count? The date of death, the date of the haunting.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah,
to say.
they'd all be
Yeah.
from the 80s to 90s.
Yeah.
if they were from the time of the haunting.
So they've kind of organised it by century. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to start reading some of the good ones because, like you guys can see, this is a big book, right?
Yes.
That's
it's a hardcover.
That's a chunky boy.
Actually, before we start, I just wanted to thank you again for the birthday gift.
No, you don't need
Not
to.
sponsored.
Stop that.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Sorry, the birthday gift.
I'll bleep that too.
It was actually probably, because it was 42, so I think it was like one of my favourite birthday years. Finally reached the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Can you tell me?
Just try and be happy.
Yeah, I'll take it. Sounds good.
Or alternatively, aim for a peaceful life as opposed to trying to be happy. It's probably
And if
easier.
not, aim for a peaceful death, lest you end up in this here book. So let's just go through and see what... Oh no, this first story is in French. Okay, we're going hard, we're going fast, guys. This is A Spirit Laid to Rest.
Sorry, is it... What's happening?
No, it's set in France, but it's written in English.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it really sounded like it was all written in French.
That's exactly what I heard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, got a lot of notes on pronunciation here.
I thought he was just going to actively start translating.
So did I. I was like, did you read this before we started?
I read this a long time ago.
Do you know French?
Oui.
Croissant?
Fromage.
Baguette.
Bienvenue. On 16 February 1525, Adrien de Montalbert, almoner and preacher of Francis I of France, was called in to advise about a poltergeist in the Abbey of Saint-Pierre-Léon. Have we had a ghost in a church before?
Surely.
This isn't a ghost, it's a poltergeist.
Now...
Good points well made. And that actually did register for me because I was like, "Well, this is an active ghost. I want to see
touch
plates,
things."
Yeah, plates flying around."
The disturbances had begun one night when an 18-year-old nun, Antoinette de Groyer, woke up convinced that someone had lifted her veil, made the sign of the cross on her brow, and kissed her lips. Do you still think it's a poltergeist?
No.
The end. No. surely some more escapades that this poltergeist has gotten up to.
Yes.
The Invisible Man? No.
Look, these stories are short, but not that short.
The not so invisible molester. Feel free to cut that.
That's just a priest.
Right?
I don't know if either of you read League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's literally how they find the Invisible Man in his introduction.
No, he's not in an abbey, is he? He's in a Catholic girls' school, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
same kind of thing.
At least Antoinette is 18.
Well, the Almanac decided she was.
She dismissed the incident as a dream.
Jeez.
But a few days later, she heard raps, which seemed to be coming from 10 centimetres underground.
Under her bed? Under the floor?
Underground?
I love the precise measurement.
Yeah, about 10 centimetres down there.
None. Exactly 10 centimetres. The raps followed Antoinette everywhere.
I can't, freeform raps. I'm not going to even attempt it, but that's what I'm thinking of, is just someone rapping.
10 centimeters under the ground.
Yeah. Following her everywhere. Incessant rapping.
I knew you weren't going to, but I suspected Ollie might burst into rap.
I'm not sure if I'm a good freestyle rapper.
Every time you take a deep breath, I'm like, oh, here it comes.
In the underground, that's where I'm found.
Oh, no. All right, now do that in French.
No.
Eventually, they were identified as the spirit of Ali of Thieu, a nun who had absconded with some of the sacred relics and, after restrictions on the nuns of St. Benedict had been relaxed in 1516, went on to lead a wild but brief life on the proceeds.
Good, you get that bag, girl.
Stealing relics,
Yeah. Good.
kissing nuns.
I mean, if quote-unquote ghosts are coming in to kiss you at night, you just steal and get out of there. Just go.
Oh, no. The ghost is an earlier nun who stole a bunch of stuff and lived at large.
Yeah, even better.
And has now come back to the abbey as a ghost and started kissing nuns.
Yeah, to inspire them to also do this. Get out of here, girls.
Right. I'll show you what you're missing. The young Antoinette had apparently often dreamt of Ali, who had died wretchedly in 1524. The nuns dug up the body of Ali and carried it to the convent, but the raps became more frantic. Adrienne de Montalbert interrogated the spirit and suggested exorcism.
So they just, let's go dig him up.
Yep, dig up the body for some reason.
Because they're going to exercise the body.
Is that like a regular thing that they did? I'm actually wondering if I think I might have actually heard that from another story that we've done. I'm having a flashback or deja vu.
Hey!
When they've done something similar, where they've like dug up the body to exercise it or to burn it or something.
I feel like I do remember a burning.
Something like that, yeah. But I mean, is that like a regular thing to do? They're just like, oh, you know what? I feel like they could be a ghost. Let's just dig them up.
They hear it under the ground, though. In this story in particular, they're like, something's under the ground that won't stop.
It's this dead nun crawling about,
Right,
rapping
so
everywhere.
we need to get it out of the ground
And into a church.
and exercise it or something, and it won't be under the ground then anymore. I don't know.
It's 1525. They were just trying whatever.
Or if they were just like, I'm sure it's under the ground, it keeps, and they're like, we'll dig it up and prove it's not.
Yeah. There might have been a bit of that going on.
That actually reminds me, it feels like that happens a lot in Supernatural, because we were talking about
Oh, you have been watching that,
yeah,
haven't
I've been
you?
watching Supernatural. Yeah. And then they're constantly like digging up bodies and like throwing salt on them.
And how often does it work?
I mean,
Never.
sometimes. And I remember you saying that you thought they looked like one of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, which one was that again?
Bobby.
You bastard.
No, in my defense, it was when you were wearing the trucker's cap.
You absolute bastard. You not look like Bobby.
Come on,
maybe
man.
the dad. Like, why couldn't you have at least said the dad? Like, that would have been a fairer assumption. I think I could.
Oh, you know
What do
what?
you mean? You
know
think he
what?
looks like Bobby?
There is,
So
there's some Jeffrey Dean Morgan in your face. I will agree with that.
What do you mean?
You didn't see him with the cap.
So mean. I would have been waiting for that. Surprisingly, I think even before America.
I'll tell you what, I've been waiting for it too.
I think I've been waiting for that like since before America. I've been like waiting to say that to you.
I don't even remember if that made it into an episode or not.
You should have seen when we were in Scotland the amount of old busts of old like white men that owned castles that Callum just looked exactly like
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
facial hair, all the same.
I remember that. I remember seeing your photos, at least your posts or something, and
Yeah.
like seeing you post that stuff. That was great. Love that.
You just walk into another hallway with another marble bust of a guy with
I'm
his button
home.
chopped ears.
Now, it could have been the same guy. It could have been. Oh, where the hell were we? All right.
They would digging up the
Exorcism.
body.
Okay, yep. So they've dug up the body, taken it to a church, and decided that maybe an exorcism is a reasonable response. The spirit answered his questions by rapping yes or no. I guess an exorcism back then involved talking to the
Can you
spirit.
hear me? Are you here now?
Yeah.
This is more like a seance / exorcism.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
Knock once for yes, twice for no.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are you a poltergeist? 2 knocks. Are you trapped in the floor? 1 knock.
He wrote, I have heard these rappings many a time, and in reply to my questions, so many strokes as I asked for were given.
Ooh,
Thank you. It's the only stroke you're getting in an abbey. You okay with that?
Yeah. Just really trying to find something funny to say. I feel like you got it covered.
Montalbert later confirmed that the rappings gave answers that no living person could possibly have known. There's no for instance in here. The disturbed spirit's last appearance came on 21st of March 1526 of the Feast of St. Benedict, patron saint of the nuns. During mealtime, 33 raps were heard coming from the refectory wall, not from under the floorboards as in previous rappings.
I will say, like, on a slightly unrelated topic, I love how in Catholicism they're like, okay, look, we can't have multiple gods. That would be crazy. We need to have like one God, and then like Jesus, Son of God, and then like the Holy Spirit. That would be the...
Can we have a saint, sir?
Yeah, but let's just throw saints at everything.
Yeah.
like have a saint of luck, saint of nuns, you know? Like, what else can we have a patron saint of? The ocean.
How else are you going to convert the pagans? Thank you. The interpretation of the nuns was that Ali's 33 years of purgatory had been reduced to 33 days.
That's nice.
This seemed to be confirmed by a bright light that appeared and remained for several minutes. The end.
Kind of like the sun, or...
God, what were they having at that feast? What was in the wine?
This sounds like maybe some ergot got into the local wheat supply, doesn't it?
Better times.
Yeah. What a leap. Oh, she knocked 33 times on the walls, therefore her 33-year sentence in purgatory, which we've already assumed, has been reduced to 33 days.
Yes, don't worry, that light confirms it, that we all see. These Almanac stories can be a wild ride.
I want to know why she deserved the time in purgatory.
Because she stole from the church.
Oh, right, sure. Of course.
I mean...
Yeah.
33 years, though.
She not only stole from the church, sold the stuff, and then went on to live like party life.
Good for her, honestly.
I know, right?
Well, there's also a picture for this one. Would you like to see a picture of an abbey?
Love to.
It's not the abbey, it's just an abbey.
Oh,
there you go. Look, yep, spooky photo of an abbey.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's a good photo.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
Of an abbey.
An abbey. Yeah, an old ruined abbey.
An abbey.
Which
somewhere.
one? Don't know. Not that one.
They say that on the photo, like in brackets, not this abbey.
No, the caption does just say, abbeys and convents were sometimes the scene of strange phenomena, interpreted then as resulting from possession by the devil. The case reported by Adrienne Del Montalba concerned the activities of a poltergeist.
Does it seem odd that the devil seems to be very active inside abbeys and holy places and churches, and like the place where it shouldn't be, yet there still seems to be?
Because it's...
Maybe it attracts them.
Yeah.
The not demons or the devil. Or...
The devil's already got the rest of the world in his grips. His challenge is converting the nuns. Make them kiss.
Just to say, talking to the poltergeist of that nun, what if you kissed them?
Steal a cup. Well, that's the end of that one. Moving on, shall we?
What's the point in even having hallowed ground, right?
If you don't have an enemy to defend it from. Yeah.
Well, that's not defending it from, I guess.
Is this a joke? H.P. Lovecraft's raps in the walls? It's not really, is it?
I mean, if you could rap it, might, my
name is Lovecraft and I'm here to say some horrible shit about native people.
And women, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can cut this out, but one thing that...
Not gonna.
One thing that was kind of like interestingly dark about my trip was, as you know, I did go to Yosemite.
Yes.
And the thing that I got to learn about Yosemite was why it was called Yosemite.
Oh, no.
And as it turns out, probably unsurprisingly, so what happened was...
Is there genocide in this here story?
Definitely.
Hey!
So as it turns out, like as the colonizers were like coming and wiping out the native population, as they were fighting the natives, they constantly heard them yell out like Yosemite, and so for some reason they assumed that was the name of the place.
Fucking hell.
Unsurprisingly, that actually in the native language means murderers.
Yeah.
So that is the name of the place. And the natives have been trying to get the name changed to the actual native name of the place. But because it's so widely known and because of marketing that's gone into the name, they're finding it pretty much near impossible to get that passed. But yeah, unfortunately, Yosemite actually means murderers.
Isn't it weird? Because in Australia, we actually quite successfully managed to rebrand Ezrock to Uluru.
That's true, yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. You hear that, Americans?
Yeah. I'm well on board with reverting names to the native names.
Yeah, me too.
However, if there's one that doesn't change, I do kind of like it to be the one that is accidentally calling out its own discoverers as murderers.
Yeah, I can see that point of view on it, but I again guess for the other side of things, that's not what they want.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I mean,
don't want to call him Murderer Sam.
That does put another context onto that character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Actually,
the one Looney Tune with guns.
I was gonna say, to be fair, maybe that's an apt name.
Yeah. He's not. He is not the only one with a gun. Elmer Fudd also.
Dang, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right. I was so ready to.
And Marvin the Martian.
I was so
bit.
ready to rebut Marvin the Martian's ray gun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. All right, time for a new story.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's get out of France for a bit, shall we? We don't need to hear me attempting to mispronounce French names again. This is Ghosts of Hampton Court. Do you guys know where Hampton Court is?
UK?
Yes.
London?
Yep. Probably.
I was gonna say England.
Yeah.
I think it's where Ricky Gervais lives. That's how I know.
Oh, really? There you go. Ricky
Murderer. Few English royal homes are richer in ghosts than Hampton Court, the splendid palace built by Cardinal Wolsey in 1515. Does that name ring a bell for you guys?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah?
What's that?
Cardinal Wolsey?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, rings a bell, but I nothing past that.
Don't know why?
Eva, do you know?
No.
I don't know why, but
No.
I've heard it before for sure.
It might ring a bell in a minute. Which he prudently gave to Henry VIII in an unsuccessful bid to regain favour. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Cardinal Wolsey is the guy that Henry VIII had the biggest beef with.
Oh, okay. Was it that who will rid me of this pestilent priest line is referencing to?
I don't think so.
Is that Hamlet?
No, yeah. No, that's
I mean, to be fair, I actually know it from Blackadder, but I know that. But I know that was the original reference.
He's not the baby-eating Bishop of Bath and Wells. Ollie was actually pretty close on that one. It was actually King Henry II who was complaining about Archbishop of Canterbury Thomas Becket with that line. Also, I got 2 episodes of Blackadder confused. Sorry about that, but go watch it all anyway. It's good stuff. He's the guy that said, no, King Henry VIII, you're not allowed to divorce.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why I know him.
What a bastard.
Yeah.
Yep.
So really, he led to the deaths of...
So, yes, Cardinal Wolsey inadvertently started the Church of England.
Yep, that's him.
God.
Whereas Henry VIII advertently did.
Yes.
In the interest of fairness to Cardinal Wolsey, it is significantly more complicated than that, but that is the Cliff Notes. The ghost of the disillusioned Wolsey was first glimpsed in 1966.
Celebrity ghost.
Yeah. And has been seen twice more since. Gee, I wonder what was happening in 1966 that would have made this ghost visible for the first time since 15,
I don't know,
15.
but if I was a ghost, I'd probably want to be visible in 1966. Like, what a year, right?
Imagine tripping and seeing, of all people,
Cardinal
Wolsey.
Yeah.
Like, of all the things your brain can manifest for you to see.
He walks up to you and says, nobody will believe you.
I tell you, if there was a decade I could go back to for a week.
A week is enough, yeah.
I mean, I need to come back to good medical care, but like... how I felt when I came back home from America, actually.
What, like some good medical care?
Yeah, I gotta get back to good affordable medical care.
I need some bread that's not sugared.
I literally held out.
I need some medicine that isn't advertised.
I mean, I definitely held out seeing a doctor. I was like, I just gotta get home.
Would you? How did you get that big old bucket of
Melatonin.
melatonin? Thank you.
Oh, just at the pharmacy.
Oh Christ!
I mean, again, like it's very
Shoveling
easy.
it in.
How much
Handfuls.
melatonin do you think you would need to eat to see Cardinal Wolsey?
Don't try this out.
No, do not recommend. Of the 5 of Henry's wives who lived there, 2 have appeared more frequently than the others. Oh yeah, by the way, Ballsy's fallen by the
Yeah,
wayside.
the 2 that were beheaded, I assume.
So this is a story about the ghost wives. Is that where we're at?
All of the ghosts of Hampton Court.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the wives probably deserve.
2 of them, the beheaded wives, I assume, are the ones that they're referring to.
Do you remember which wives were beheaded?
The second one and the 6th one.
Mrs. Henry VIII the second.
Yeah, the 2nd and the 6th ones.
Okay.
How many wives?
Yeah,
did
but
he have?
who? What's their names?
Wait.
Look,
Oh, sorry. Oh, I guess I'm thinking of it wrong.
it is divorced, beheaded,
it
died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Right.
well, so some
So
died. They
2nd and
weren't all
5th.
beheaded, but I assume.
Well, they're all dead now. They're not all touring Broadway in
yeah, but
5 or whatever. No,
yeah, I was
6?
thinking of the beheaded ones. Featuring the. We had a story, didn't we, where a cast of ghosts took to the stage to join the actors?
I think so. Yeah. Check out episode 22, Ghostly Lumps, and the Theatre Royal for that story. Anyway, Henry's 5th wife, Catherine Howard, was a tragic pawn in a power game between the Catholic and Protestant court factions. In 1540, aged 19, she was engineered into the royal marriage by her Catholic family. Protestants accused her of immorality, and she was beheaded on 13th February 1542.
Life would have been a lot different if they had social media back then.
Hashtag save wife 5.
She would have known to run straight away.
Right, okay. You'd think that safety advice for women was
A lot
generally
of
more...
feminist podcasts and stuff for her to listen to.
Oh, God.
What?
What?
Why were you groaning at that?
I don't know.
I would assume that he was like groaning at the crossover between the modern and the old, right?
Yeah, just
the sheer assertion that there could be modern things in that time.
Henry VIII would have had the most insufferable podcast.
Yeah, founding the Church of England.
Is Joe Rogan the new Henry VIII? Slowly getting bigger and
There's
bigger.
no way he's got 8 wives.
Not for like
Not
a
alive
trial.
ones, no. 8 wives? Hang on.
Oh yeah, too many. He's Henry VIII, not
Yeah.
Henry VIII, not Henry VIII wives.
I was going to ask before, like, how many wives did he have?
6.
6, okay.
Yeah.
Did the 6th live?
Yes.
Ah, good for her.
Again, eventually she did die.
Yeah.
Everybody
But
dies.
She didn't die because of him,
Yeah, which is
like the others did.
Yeah, did she like bear him sons or something? Is that...
No, she successfully got away from him.
Oh, good for her.
I
must have got the Amber
think
Alert.
I think he died first.
Yeah, I think
he died of gout, which is why it's divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded,
survived him
because she survived him, outlived
Can you,
him.
can you die of gout?
Back then you could.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I vaguely recall it may not have only been gout that did him in. He may also have had an untreated infection from a jousting tournament.
Oh, okay.
And that's probably what got him in the end.
This is just a Henry VIII podcast now.
It is.
I'm not sure if I've mentioned this to you before, but that was my 41st birthday gift. Gout.
What, King Henry VIII?
Yeah, a jousting infection.
No, it was gout. And now I take like daily medication for gout. What fun.
Yeah.
Well, technically it's to lower uric acid, which is what causes gout.
Moving on. Her ghost, Catherine Howard, her ghost is said to run shrieking along the so-called haunted gallery, echoing her arrest in November 1541, when she is said to have broken away from her captors and run down the corridor screaming for Henry's mercy. Do you think it was called the haunted gallery before or after this point?
Like, surely after... it must leave an impression. I mean, I imagine that, like, all of these tragic events must have left an impression on the people at the time as well. Like, I'm sure people, like on edge or, saddened by recent events would start maybe having hallucinations of visions of the people that they'd been in their lives before. Like, I'm thinking, I'm not going to say what happened, but I do know that after I've had people die, that I've had visions of them, or like, seen them, or felt like I've heard them talking, or, it's like, right. So
I think it's very fair to say.
I mean, what happened to me was real, obviously, but in the case,
If someone had witnessed Catherine Howard like screaming down the corridor, running away from her captors, begging for her life from her own husband, and then killed on his order, maybe they might have some PTSD dream replays of that.
This is what I'm saying.
Keeping in mind, this is an absolutely unprecedented time that we could never get our minds around, where like the governing body of the land was tearing itself apart over such bullshit distinctions, and civil war seemed imminent.
No one could understand what that's like these days.
Outrageous, right? We could never put ourselves in those people's shoes.
You're tearing me apart, England.
In 1918, the haunted gallery was cleared, and for a while, Catherine Howard's ghost disappeared. I don't know what they mean by cleared. Whether like they had someone go in and burn some sage, or if they just like removed furniture.
Actually, kind of reminds me of that Ghost series, the American version, when they start off by like going in and burning sage in one of the rooms, and the ghosts are worried whether or not they're going to be cleared out with the sage, and they're like, "Oh, that's a nice smell." Yeah.
Placates the ghosts.
Yeah. What if it was cleared and no one was going in there because there was nothing in there and it wasn't being used or anything?
Yeah.
Then of course, no one's in there to see anything.
And you can kind of like, if you've got a big busy room with lots of like corners and crevices and shadows and stuff, you might start thinking you're seeing stuff. But when it's a big empty hallway with nothing in it,
yeah.
But later, an artist repeatedly saw a ringed hand in front of a tapestry he was sketching. The ring was identified as belonging to Catherine. A resident of the palace at the time told investigator Andrew Green that she had seen a shrieking figure often enough to take it as a matter of course.
I don't even know where to start with all that.
Yeah, that was some loaded sentences. So I guess the tapestries are still in the room.
Love a good tapestry. Big fan.
Artist sketching it. I guess artists do that.
Sketch tapestries?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, people go to like galleries now and try and recreate.
Or
like,
it was drawing
painting.
Something else and the tapestry was in the background, or...
Yeah. Anyway, just a ringed hand in front of it.
I mean...
Sure.
Get some attention. Say you're seeing a ringed hand of...
Right. Hey, wouldn't you like to buy my sketch of this thing when I saw a
keep
ghost?
seeing this hand here. Look at the ring on its finger. Isn't that distinct? And I've definitely seen that in the past at some point.
Here, Andrew, you've messed up this bit of the tapestry. The sketch looks nothing like the real thing. Oh, I got distracted by a ghost hand. Jane Seymour, Henry's third wife, has been cited too, although her restlessness is harder to explain. I mean, she did still die. Henry was genuinely fond of her, and was sincerely distressed by her death in 1537, soon after she gave birth to his only son, the future King Edward VI. So let's scrub the record of us saying he never had a son, but not by the one that we thought he did.
Well, what a fun history lesson. Yeah, so she didn't die in childbirth.
Or after.
Soon after.
There
So
would have-
possibly complications.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Not to be graphic, but women often need stitches.
Mm.
And they just, back then, if they didn't get them or they just got infected,
Yeah.
you'd just die of that.
Yep. Infection, the biggest killer since the plague, which
Yeah.
is also an infection.
Do you know, I was thinking about the plague the other day, and, you know, it's interesting.
Why? Why on earth were you thinking about the plague?
Do you want to know?
Do I?
So, like, I got my chest infection after having the flu.
Right.
And then on one day, on one particular day, I started coughing up blood in the morning, which has never really happened before. So I just started coughing up a bit of blood with the other stuff that I was trying to get out of my lungs. And then I went to the doctor and got antibiotics, and he told me that it was probably just a normal thing that happens with burst blood vessels when you're coughing a lot. But then it made me think of the Black Death. Because I was like coughing up blood, and then that made me think about like how the Black Death, the Black Plague, just kind of like went away at some point. And I remember like googling it. I was like, hey, like whatever happened to the plague? You know, like
I love that. What happened to the plague?
Where is plague now?
Well,
yeah. And it was like, and they said, oh, well,
Oh, he's been starring in some really dodgy countries lately.
well, they said that the isolation that people went into around the time of the disease was, you know, ultimately what ended the plague. And I was like, really? Surely is that like
social distancing worked even back then.
Yeah, I mean that's what I heard.
I guess the thing is they just started literally avoiding. Like that's the phrase, avoid it like the plague.
That's a good point, yeah.
Like, and they just started avoiding anything that had anything to do with it, and they just, like, lock themselves in their houses, and they don't do anything. And then they do that enough that apparently all the people with it die, and all the ones who don't have it don't.
I mean, it did knock off, like, what was it, 50% of the population or something?
Yeah. Insane numbers.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's... I was going to say, let's get away from the grisly stuff, but...
Where were we?
1,200 masses were sung for the repose of her soul. Jane Seymour. So 1,200 masses.
Like mass.
Yeah. Was that like one group of people singing 1,200 songs?
No, I
or
assume
did they hold 1,200 masses all at once?
Oh, or I assume just in total. Because if you did, like, 2 mass a day, what? That is a long time. That's like
a lot.
That's like years.
Yeah. Who knows? The book doesn't explain it. Non-royal ghosts include Mistress Sybil Penn, foster mother to Edward VI, who lived in the palace until she died from smallpox in 1562. She was buried in St Mary's Church nearby. In 1829, her grave was disturbed, and soon after the palace residents began to hear a woman muttering and the sounds of a spinning wheel. An entirely forgotten room was found containing an ancient spinning wheel.
That's cool.
A forgotten room. Imagine having that much space.
You just forget a room.
Yeah, I was a tapestry hanging in front of a door here.
I mean, I've been playing a lot of Blueprints lately, but that still sounds weird.
That's like one of my dreams is to like have a house with a hidden room.
Yeah.
Like behind a bookcase or...
I also wish to be rich enough to afford wasted space.
Not wasted, it's just a study.
Okay, we're just thinking of a room that only you know about.
Yeah.
With a bookcase door.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Right, I'm back on board.
For a bit of fun. I mean, obviously you would have to be rich enough to afford that.
Yeah.
It would be wasted books, though, because all the books would have to be behind perspex or something, because the second you swung the door, all the books would fall off.
I am a man, I am a homeowner, of course I have looked up, can I make a bookcase door before? Problem is, books are heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta be fake books.
Yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, I mean, this is dashing my dreams, because I wanted to have, like, all real books except for the one that if you, like, move it, like, the door opens, like...
Now, you could still theoretically get away with it if it's a sliding door, because then you can keep the consistent weight on a bunch of wheels on the ground. But a hinged door, forget it.
So sliding door, you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll have to be the fireplace, with the...
Yep.
With the boob button?
Austin Powers?
Indiana Jones.
Oh, right.
You're right. It does feel like an Austin Powers bit, though, doesn't it?
I remember that. Yeah, it was like in the palace. Is that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Temple of Doom?
Yeah, definitely Temple of Doom. I don't care to remember the particulars because it's the third worst Indiana Jones.
It's one
I haven't seen the newest one.
I would actually say it's like one of my favorites. I love the Temple of Doom. I think it's a great movie.
It's also therefore the third best.
Kalima. Good times.
One February night in 1907, a policeman patrolling the grounds around midnight saw people in evening dress in the Ditton Walk. The only sound was the rustling of ladies' dresses. The party proceeded a little way and then suddenly vanished. This extraordinary incident has never been explained.
Didn't we talk about that?
The end.
I was going to say, didn't we talk about that story the other day?
Did we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
This specific one?
Well, I remember because we referenced it as being the story that Midnight in Paris may have related back to.
Right,
do you remember that? Yeah.
That was in France, though. That was Versailles.
Right.
But, yeah.
So, wrong. But
Similar thing.
Similar, yeah.
Was there just nothing else to do back then, so they just told ghost stories?
Yeah.
Just make shit up at work, just to keep you amused, because there's literally nothing to... Oh, I saw the woman running down the corridor. Ooh.
Why do you think there's a whole book of these things?
Yeah.
Like, people have been coming up with ghost stories forever because they're bored.
Ye of little faith.
Maybe we could go home...
That was Henry VIII, according to Cardinal Wolsey.
Maybe we could go home early if we say we saw the ghost of the dead queen.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, obviously I'm a fan of the unexplained and the idea of ghostly entities, but, admittedly, like, there's definitely a lot more ghost stories, from those periods of time.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones these days is all just blurry photographs, and apparently that suffices these days.
I mean, I try and be realistic.
But speaking of photographs, would you guys like to see a photograph of Hampton Court?
I do.
Is it of Hampton Court or some other court?
No, it's of Hampton Court. Well,
Not uncourt.
Well,
it's a part of Hampton Court. Now, I know that you're thinking it's probably the famous haunted gallery, but no, it's, for some reason they've included a picture of the chimneys of Hampton Court in the very bottom corner there.
oh, they are famous.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, are they?
I think the start of Mary Poppins is...
Oh, I see. Don't get me doing my Dick Van Dyke accent.
I was going to say, so famous, you'd maybe even be able to get a better photo.
Yeah. Look, it's nice against the sunset, but photo of the tapestry? No. The haunted? No.
the painting of the hand.
pathway? No. Nothing. Reader's Digest is nothing if not bargain basement sometimes.
Well, it's been good to be able to do an episode with you, Callum. Enjoyed it.
Yes, are we wrapping up?
Do you have a third story?
Look at all this.
Oh, you want to do
We
a third?
can do as many as we want.
Up to you.
How long have we been going, though? This is the tale of John Dee and Edward Kelly. In a field filled with shadowy figures, few Elizabethan occultists are ultimately as elusive as Edward Kelly, the working-class medium who served the celebrated Dr. John Dee in many of his magical schemes. In their mutual attempts to contact higher spirits, or angels, they used a system first outlined by the alchemist Cornelius Agrippa in his classic work on occult philosophy. It is believed that Kelly was born at Worcester, England, on 1st August 1555, and briefly attended Oxford under the alias Edward Talbot. Why he used a pseudonym, no one knows. Rumour has it that he wore a black skull cap because he had lost both ears as punishment for forgery.
What? Why is that the punishment for forgery? Ears, like, surely fingers.
Or at least you prevent you from committing the crime again.
I wonder if this is sort of like, well, we recognise your talent for painting, penmanship or something. We're still going to punish you, but now maybe we'll also employ you in an official capacity.
Do you think you'd like... Well, I mean, forgive me for asking this.
Yeah.
I mean, surely that would diminish your hearing, but you wouldn't be deaf, would you? Like, if you had the...
Probably not.
Yeah, like, you don't... Like, how much of that outside of your ear do you need?
Things will probably sound different, but
yeah,
I think you'd still be able to hear.
Like, if you got
probably-
the inner ear bit...
You're just a freak, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you probably could not tell where sounds were coming from. You could hear them, but it would all just be one blurry mess.
Like, I kind of want to know, but I don't. Maybe
What?
if I just fold the ears
No.
back. Can I simulate?
Are you starting to get an idea about what kind of man this Edward Kelly might be?
A forger without ears.
He's pretending to be someone else. He might be a forger. He may or may not have ears.
He may or may not have gone to Oxford. Or,
I think we do know he did go to Oxford?
sorry, what did you say?
Yes, Oxford.
Yeah. That's how quickly I can doubt myself.
I just read the stories. I don't absorb any of it.
But like as a pseudonym, but like why is... I thought it was funny when you're like under a pseudonym. I'm like, why would he be under a pseudonym? And the next sentence was like, no one knows why he attended under a pseudonym. I was like, well, then how do we know it was him? Like,
He probably had some scheme going. We don't know what it was.
or do we just know it was him because the only, no-eared man that attended Oxford?
The no name, no ear,
So what's
skull-capped.
Is it skull cap?
Skull cap.
Is that just like a bowler?
I like to think of like a religious beanie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like a Swedish beanie?
like a yarmulke or something, but goes over your whole head.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll look that up later.
I think Amber's looking it up now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's for then
I think you would then
put a hat over
yeah.
it, I believe.
Okay.
So like all those big fancy hats that like kings and priests and stuff used to wear, you'd first put a little cap on, and then the hat would go on top.
So
Okay.
just it makes it smooth for the other hat to sit on without hair poking out.
And covers up the fact that you don't have ears.
Yeah.
It's the hat version of underwear.
Do you know what? I've actually always struggled with beanies because, like, whenever I put like beanies over my ears, I can't hear, and I find that really annoying. So I always have to,
How
like,
thick are these beanies?
thick enough to disturb me.
Disturb is right. I'm worried about this. By the time he met Dee on 10th March 1582, he had already made himself a reputation as a medium and necromancer, a raiser of spirits of the dead.
He's
Good job.
hustling.
Do we believe that he could do this whatsoever?
No, he's hustling.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly would gaze into a crystal and summon spirits with incantations in a complex and secret language. And
If you have to do it, like, what a way to do it. Like, that's how I want to do it.
I was literally just thinking, what a shame these days mediums attempt to pretend to be real when they could just be really impressive showmen. Imagine how much less stigma there would be around going to see a medium if everyone agreed this is a show we're all going to see.
well, what you're
compared
describing
to-
is a magician,
Well,
right?
Yeah,
like
but
this was Harry Houdini's thing.
Yeah, I know,
This
but
was,
like, but that nowadays they don't do that. Now you don't put them in this. It's not a magician and a medium in the same thing.
No.
Like, they try to be real, and
magicians hate mediums.
it's like, yeah, exactly. Whereas if it was agreed upon, they're just a really good magician when it comes to showmanship of mediumship.
I agree with Amber. And if there was mediums that you could go to that had big crystal balls and maybe even turban, like, I would do that. If it wasn't cultural appreciation.
Well, I mean, it depends. Is that person trying to take advantage of you?
Well,
If it's
I'd
a
be
show, if
paying
we all
them.
agree it's a show
Yeah.
that I'm paying a ticket to see,
Yeah.
and you're going to put on there's going to be smoke and mirrors and crystals and ghosts are going to come out of them, and sure, great.
Actually, it's funny. I once actually had like an ex-girlfriend that told me when we were in the relationship together that a medium told her that she was going to like meet the love of her life and that's why we were together, which I thought was fun.
Oh,
When
yeah.
when she broke
This is why mediums are bad.
when she broke up with me,
Did she go for a refund?
and it's funny because she told me beforehand that she was an incredibly logical person. She wouldn't normally believe this stuff. However,
Nobody who's logical has to tell people that they're logical.
and I think this is how much people want to believe things. Like when she broke up with me, she told me that the medium told her that she was going to meet someone before the love of her life that she thought could have been the love of her life, and I must have been that person. But she thought that she'd met someone before me that she'd thought had already been that person, but clearly I must have been that person. So it's all okay.
Yeah,
This
And
is
it's,
like
and
the
it's
medium.
the next person is going to fall into
I don't know if I ever told you this, but my grandma on my dad's side and my auntie had a medium, like how you have a doctor or something, like
no.
they would go to.
Really? Oh, no.
I mean, sometimes you just want someone to talk to.
Yeah, that I get, and now we have that profession. They're called a psychologist.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
psychiatrist.
what's more expensive, right?
Counselor.
Yeah, go see a medium every, you know.
But this,
They don't have
this
to get
medium,
a qualification or anything.
This medium sounds like the spiritual equivalent of like your keys are always in the last place you look. Because yeah, when you find them, you stop looking. You'll eventually meet the love of your life. Oh, but there'll be a guy before that, and before that, and before that. But there will be a love of your life. I'm like, nah.
I really hope she did find that person.
Yeah, she found him down the back of the couch.
If only it were that simple.
I'll get on my hands and knees.
I guess I was just trying to illustrate how people, today will still place faith. And you know what? Honestly, I think with a bit of a show and especially with a conviction in your abilities that you sell to your participants, if you would.
Victims.
Customers. I feel like that is something that people find easier to convince them as well. Because, I mean, surely by the time someone's gone to a medium, they already want to be convinced.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's probably not that much to push them over the edge.
No. And that's why magicians hate mediums.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about how, you know what, I'm going to be really bad at this, but I mean, it was around the time when we talked about that unfinished house that had the really weird architecture.
Oh, like an old house that they'd bolted a bit of a new house onto?
Yeah, it was the house, it had staircases going to nowhere.
Oh, the Winchester Mystery House.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we were saying around the time that was built. I can't remember what time that period that was, but we remember saying that
Late
it was,
Victorian?
yeah, and we were talking about how there was a lot of death around that time and that mediums became incredibly popular.
Yeah.
because like people were trying to figure out how to grieve.
Because there's whole nations worth of unresolved PTSD going around.
Exactly, and so like they were using mediums as like a grieving mechanism to like help them, which I'm sure people still do.
Yeah,
But maybe
the
not to
mediums
the
are very
same
happy to
extent.
take the money and pretend to be your loved one. Blah, disgusting. Anyway, shall we see what Mr. Kelly got up to?
Taking people's money and pretending to be their loved ones.
That's one.
Oh, by the way,
The
we have
Kelly Medium Gang.
we have the name of his secret language. It's Enochian.
Like the mushrooms.
I wonder if it sounds like Elvish.
Yeah, I wonder if 1582. When did Europe discover Japan? It probably would have been about then. Huh. He said he could see and hear spirits and acted as intermediary for John Dee, who would ask them questions.
Konnichiwa.
I don't think that's a question.
I was saying hello to the spirits
Right.
in Japanese.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
I knew. I knew what you were saying, Ollie.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Oh, no. D sympathisers argue that the good doctor was largely duped by the deceitful Kelly. There is plenty of historical information that reveals an uneasy alliance between them, including a suggestion by Kelly, supposedly at the urging of a spirit guide, Madimi, that the two men exchange wives. As with so much concerning Kelly and Dee, it is uncertain whether this marital exchange ever took place.
So the swingers.
Yeah, apparently.
Hopefully the
Wait,
wives
were the
have...
wives alive or are they swinging beyond the grave? Well, they're mediums, right?
There's the episode title. What we do know is that Dee and Kelly toured Europe thanks to their reputation as both occultists and alchemists. But a break was inevitable. Dee chose to return to England, but Kelly continued roaming the continent, promising gold and the elixir of eternal life. The latter supposedly discovered in England at Glastonbury Abbey by angelic means. The half-mad Rudolph II of Prague, in Bohemia, first knighted Kelly for his alchemical efforts, then imprisoned him for his lack of production.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, obviously not.
He's got to run out of luck sometime.
Yeah, that's why the other guy got out of there and was like, I'm going back to the UK.
Kelly's writing checks I can't cash.
Yeah, I've got to get out of here. I take my dead swinger wife and go.
There's the story of Icarus over there, huh?
Yeah. In 1593, Kelly died from injuries when he fell while trying to escape from the castle turret.
Called it.
The end.
Oh. I love the absolute, some of the details I just didn't need to know. Like about them trying to swap wives. Like, what?
I'm sorry. I think we need to know that.
Do we?
Yes.
What's irrelevant
Come
to
on.
this?
I think it tells us a bit about Kelly and Dee here.
Is that a new record for us? 3 stories?
3 stories? Yeah, possibly. I mean, they're
think
all about a
so.
page each, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, not
Oh,
maybe,
the Bridges one when I was on might have been
Oh, that might have had 3 as well, yeah.
4?
Oh, really?
Possible.
2 hotels and 2 bridges, or 3?
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
We must
But
have
we're
kept
not-
them short as well. I mean, we definitely have had some like long stories that have gone for like the full hour before.
Yeah, well more than that sometimes. But we're not actually done. We've got a picture for this one too. We have a picture of medium Edward Kelly and one-time collaborator Paul Waring call up a spirit in the hope that it will tell them the location of, can you guess what?
The elixir of life?
No, buried treasure.
Perfect.
We don't just have a picture of the two men, we also have a picture of the spirit. Care to describe as a finale to the episode, what the fuck is that?
It's one of their dead swinging wives.
Yeah, you might well be right. No, that's not the two that swapped.
Oh.
That's someone else that Kelly was trying to work
it's
with.
a dead swinging wife.
It's probably the coolest one that we've had so far.
Coolest picture.
Yeah, coolest picture out of the 3.
You can tell what it is, yeah. Because it's an artist's impression rather than just a photograph of something.
And Callum will be scanning these images in and sharing them on the Instagram.
No, I shan't. I was hoping you guys would explain a bit more, but we've got Kelly and Waring standing in some sort of magic circle with sticks and books looking like they're
Showmanship.
Leonardo
He
da
was
Vinci,
good at his
frankly.
job.
Yeah.
He was until he wasn't.
No, he tried to branch out into alchemy.
Oh, right.
He
Yeah.
shouldn't have. He should have stayed where he was comfy in the mediumship.
That's true.
Stay in your lane, Kelly.
Like, alchemy isn't a trick. You actually have to deliver something with alchemy.
It's like all these
I would
snake
say
oil...
that alchemy was only ever a promise.
Yeah.
It's like all these snake oil salesmen are getting away with,
there is a product. It's
working.
water, but it's a product.
No, I was going to say, like, all these, like, snake oil salesmen are getting away with actually, making a profit. So maybe that was where he got the idea from. But they did, shove a lot of cocaine in there. So maybe if you put a lot of cocaine...
You think you're drinking the elixir of life when you start seeing Cardinal Wolsey.
All right. Let's wrap up tonight's episode with... Who's your MVP, Amber? It sounds like it might be Cardinal Wolsey.
No, it's the woman from the first story that robbed the church and lived a party life.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, get it, Queen.
Yeah.
Ollie?
I'm going to say the guy that made the elixir of life,
Yeah, you
I can't
reckon?
remember his name. What was his name?
Edward
again?
Kelly?
Edward Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say Edward Kelly for, really trying his hardest. Really giving it a go.
Small businessman. Small business owner.
Yeah. I'm going to give him,
The entrepreneurial spirit award.
Exactly, yeah. I think that entrepreneurial spirit and just a go-getter.
I've honestly completely forgotten what our middle story was about, so I'm going with recency bias. My favourite is going to be the half-mad Rudolph II of Prague. Because at least he was like, you can make gold for me, can you? All right, I'll give you a chance. But then when it didn't deliver, no. That's a totally reasonable repercussion.
God, I wish I was there for that story. Like, did he actually just like promise him gold? Was he that confident that he could make gold?
Yeah. You've seen very recently how far people can get on empty promises, right?
I assume that the scam was to say yes, get the money to make the stuff, and then leave. And he just didn't leave in time or get out of there.
Yeah, it's like, actually, I'm going to bolt this door down.
Yeah. My dear friend Half-Mad Rudolph II of Prague, I can make gold for you. All I need is for you to give me a bunch of lead and diamonds and wheat, and these are all the ingredients definitely for gold, for sure. And some women, they have to be virgins.
Yeah.
And you give them all to me for a couple of weeks, and I'll give you some gold. And then he
He
didn't get
locks
away in
them
time.
As Ollie said.
Yeah.
Best couple of weeks of his life.
Also, I can't believe the middle story was the Cardinal Wolsey story.
It was too. Oh, what was the first one then? Oh, the nuns, yeah. Does anyone have a word award? I feel like it was all fairly modern prose this week, wasn't it?
Throbber.
Great. I have to keep that in the episode now.
I was going to say, did we even record that? Wolsey?
Dead swingers. Median swingers.
Yeah.
Just swingers.
Enochian. I'm going with Enochian.
Oh, that's the language.
The made-up language that might just, in fact, be
Japanese.
That he learnt a bit of Japanese. Yep. Wait! Hang on. Was it a secret language, or was he just speaking Japanese? Who knows? We'll never know. On a show old podcast like Second-Hand Haunting. This week's story is from Almanac of the Uncanny by Reader's Digest. Episode edited by Callum Patrick for the Peas in a Podcast Network.